Our prayers have been answered. We have a new Toronto Maple Leafs head coach. Round of applause. The best round of applause yet of the season, because thank God. We'll get to him in a minute. We're going to start off like we do every week with the stars of the week. Brandon, I want you to start off because I think yours is interesting.
How come?
Go ahead. Go ahead and tell the people who it is, and then
My pick is Logan Couture.
Okay.
Let's see what I got here. Get his stats. So in the 3 games, he has 1 goal, 6 assists,
Right.
7 points. San Jose has won all those games in that time as well, taking them from the bottom to the top.
Okay.
I just think that it speaks. Also, you guys kind of picked who I was gonna say, and I don't really like to find or have it picked for me. And I figured since we had them there, I'd throw out my own.
Okay.
So
you took a guy with 1 goal in 3 games.
I don't like that pick at all.
I didn't know that goals were everything for you.
Leon Draisaitl, who lit it up this week.
Okay. Right, but the name was already there though. So if we,
but it was there as a please take this man because we all missed him.
Okay.
No, I'm sticking with him on this.
But
my argument against Couture is they played absolutely nobody in those 3 games.
Yeah, and they were absolute nobody before that.
Right. That's fair.
Dude, they're the bottom team, so
yeah, but they weren't supposed to be. If you look at this team, you don't
doesn't matter though.
Say as a bottom.
So their captain having a good week is a bad thing?
I just don't think it was. I don't know.
I appreciate the defense, Nick, because this is really like I was pretty solid on my pick.
I just think, man, they played
Scooped around for it after I saw Draisaitl on there. I was like, oh, awesome.
Edmonton,
he
Anaheim,
had the same amount of points as McKinnon this week.
Yeah, McKinnon had 4 of those were goals and
right because goals are everything.
Because goals are worth far more fantasy.
2 game winners in the 3 games they played. But hey, it's all right.
All right, I'll make sure next week that he's got more goals in my.
I don't know. I just think
so. When I picked Barkov all those weeks back, then you're pretty upset with that too, eh? That he didn't have a single goal.
There wasn't.
He just got his first one.
We all did miss out on Pasternak in that week. So I mean,
right? Yeah. Okay. So next time I'm just gonna go to the goal category, see who's.
I mean, when you have the same amount of points, we had 1 goal and 6 assists, and 3 of them were secondary assists. It's like, yeah, okay, fine. I just think it was a little soft compared to some of the other guys this week.
I mean,
that's fair. I mean, it's your pick. It's your choice. Bottom line.
Who'd you take?
I took Nate McKinnon.
Boo! What the hell?
So you got defense against that one? You had 4 goals, 3 assists. OT winner against the Vancouver Canucks after Matt Calvert takes one in the face. So he came off of that, scores the OT winner. Guy was gross this week. There's not much debating that.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I mean, you can try, but he's single-handedly carrying the Colorado Avalanche right now.
I don't know about single. They have another guy.
Oh, Cale Makar?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that's fair. He's pretty good, too. Nick, who you got?
Well, I went with Connor McDavid this week because, I don't know if you heard, but 10 points in 3 games is pretty good. He had back-to-back hat tricks. Only one was in this week, but, we'll give him some credit because he didn't win one last week. 3 goals, 7 assists, just leading the way. Jesus Christ, he's good. Super fast. Oh.
All right. Yeah, I mean, he had a 6-point night at one point. I don't think you're going to debate the fact that he was the best in the NHL this week.
I'm gonna throw it out there right now. If anybody ever beats Daryl Sittler's records for points in a game, it's got to be McDavid, right?
He could have though. Like the thing is, he got 6 points for a third period. Yeah. He only played 4 minutes and 10 seconds in the third period.
In the third, yeah.
Where he usually plays about 10 minutes a period.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, they were talking about it on, I think it was Overdrive too, right? They were like, this kid's going to score 10 points in a game at one point in his career.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's a lock, but I'd say if anybody ever does it, it's him.
It'd be him. Yep. Mac, round us off. Who you got?
Yeah, I've got Sonk, Keith Yandel, who also only had 1 goal and 7 assists, but he is a defenseman.
D-man. There's a difference.
He is a defenseman, but he also had 4 power play points, and he was a +3. So he also had his song caught on mic in this past week. So that was a pretty cool revelation by Spit and Chicklets there.
He's also just a lot of fun.
Oh, he's biggest beauty. Like, that whole clip was hilarious. That's my favorite line. That's my favorite line. Was their game against Boston in that start of the week?
I believe so. No,
Because he had 4
The
points in
one
their 4-goal comeback against one of the best teams in hockey.
Yep.
So that was pretty. That was
not
cool.
a big deal. Thank you.
And,
Um, couple.
I just want to touch on another kind of honorable mentions.
That's what I was going to hit.
My honorable, I know he's a Blackhawks player, but still Kirby Dach, rookie, had 3 goals, 2 assists in 5 games. However, the big thing here is he only averaged 12 minutes a game.
Yeah.
So
He looks like he's starting to figure it out a bit now. Eh?
Yeah, he's a big body and he's got some hands, so he's putting it together, and it's nice to see.
Yeah, and then obviously Leon Draisaitl, we kind of talked about him a little earlier. I think he deserves a bit of a shout out guy. I mean, he is playing with McDavid, so
let's hire a 5th guy.
You're gonna pick up points. You got. Yeah, we just need one more guy so we can include these guys. 3 goals, 2 assists, or 2 goals, 7 assists. Sorry, 9 points. He still leads the league in points. Nuts. It's if you told me at the beginning of the year that the league leader in points is going to be Leon Draisaitl, I would have laughed in your face. However, if you told me that Mike Babcock was going to be fired, I don't think I would have laughed as hard. And we finally
hit. Mike Babcock's fired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I wasn't sure if you'd laugh.
Oh, well, that was at the beginning of the year. Now I'm just more ecstatic about the fact that it happened. I don't know where to start with it. The Leafs have had a horrible week in the time since our last podcast. I think they've had, 3 or 4 games? 4 games. And they are 0-4. And they look like trash. So I don't think this is something that comes a big shock for a lot of people. But I myself said that they weren't going to let him go. I don't know what you guys thought on the situation, but I thought they'd hang on to him for the year because it is Mike Babcock. But it's something that I think needed to be changed. What do you guys think?
I think it's one of the easier moves for Dubas to make because it's not something that he did. Like they're saying, right? Like he wasn't the one to bring Babcock in, so it's kind of the easiest way to go. Hey, I don't want to take blame for this start, so gonna do what I can to try to shake it up.
Yep.
It's also pretty much one of the only moves you can make right now, right? Like the fact that I find that Tyson Barrie's name is the first one up and he's the newest player in is pretty shocking, man. Like that right there speaks volumes as to what that team culture might look like. So I just think that right there is it's a bit of a shakeup. Like it's not too bad because obviously the coaching's not working. You're not too far gone. And you could maybe say, hey, injuries this or performance that, change of players, whatever, but you need to do something, and this was kind of the easiest move without shaking too much up and taking too much of a gamble, I guess.
It's easier to fire one guy than it is to fire 22. Right?
Yeah, and that's always I feel like that's always the first move for a team is to go, hey, coach, you're packing your bags.
Yep. The one argument I don't like, and I've heard it brought up from multiple people now, is the injuries, and they've had so many people down. It's that's not an excuse you can use anymore, man. Colorado's been missing half their team. Pittsburgh's missing one of the best players in hockey and one of the top-tier defenders in hockey. They were missing Malkin earlier in the year, too, and they're still doing better than we are.
It's just a next guy up mentality for them.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's you know what? Toronto still has the depth that they should be able to win games, and it just looks like, I don't know if you guys, to me, it looked like a strictly coaching thing. You're playing the wrong systems for the guys you have. I don't know what you guys think about it.
I think that's the basis of it. The whole thing just goes back to, we've always said he's stubborn, he's stuck in his ways, and I think eventually that just rubbed enough guys the wrong way. They weren't getting the results. Dubas and Shanahan were on the same page with it, and they said, all right, time to shake something up. I will say, though, the whole argument that, people will say, oh, the roster's not good enough, they don't have defense, and then they're like, oh, it's Babcock's fault. It's one or the other. It's not both.
No.
And I mean, Dubas has constructed this team how Kyle Dubas wants it. Shanahan has said that it's a good team, how Dubas wants it. Yeah. Analytics people, media, everybody said it's a good team. So now, if it's not a good team and they carry this on, you put the injuries, you put all that aside, this is on Kyle Dubas. And, I mean, his head is on top of this right now.
Yep.
I'll tell you kind
of... Yeah, give her.
Sorry, I'll tell you this. The guy he does bring up, Sheldon Keefe, does have a track record with Dubas already. I mean, the last season he coached in the OHL with Sioux, he was 54, 12, and 2. And get this, offensive Leafs, offensive Sioux. They scored 342 goals that year, and won the championship. Yeah.
He's a
So,
consistent winner. Brandon and I had this conversation earlier. Like the guy's won everywhere
Yeah.
he goes.
Everywhere.
It's. I don't think it'll be much different. You're
It'll
handing
definitely
him.
help.
Yeah.
Like I think that helps, and like keeping it within as well. Like it's not enough of a shakeup where like I think if you change your coach like for somebody completely new into the team that nobody has any idea who they are, right? At least this way you have some AHL
the
ties
team.
there.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
who
how
have
many
been there. Yeah.
guys? Yeah.
10 guys?
Exactly right, and like how well did that work out for when I saw like Tampa Bay? It was like the first team that comes to mind where when they came up and it was like like Kucherov and Tyler Johnson when they were first like coming up in the scene, it was like Cooper was there, he'd seen them in the A, and now they're up here, right? So I think it could only be good things for him.
He was
coming
also
in.
huge in their developmental process, so it's like you're kind of getting them back. Like you developed them and then gave them to Babcock, who tried to change them a bit. I think you get Keefe in here and he brings them back to what he wanted them to be and like the style of players that they were built to be, as opposed to Babcock.
When they won the Calder Cup, Andreas Janssen won the MVP and he was a beast.
Yeah.
Yep.
He went on a run that year. That was the same year he got hurt early on too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just
wild.
Adding on to Keefe there. Adding on to Keefe, here's his last 15 years track record. 2006 round 2, 2007 won a trophy, 2008 won a trophy, 2009 won a trophy, 10 trophy, 11 trophy, 12 round 2, 13 round 1, 14 round 2, 15 conference finals, 16 conference finals, 17 round 2, 18 trophy, 19 conference finals. This year he had the Marlies at a 9-2-3 record.
Do you have the one that compared Babcock's too?
Yeah.
I think I know the tweet you're talking about.
Do you want me to go it?
Yeah, go through that.
2006 round 1, 2007 conference finals, Detroit was sick. 2008 cup, 2009 cup final, and then it went round 2, round 2, round 1, round 2, round 1, missed playoffs, round 1, round 1, round 1. 9-9-4 this year.
So like the big thing with me is like, yes, there was always a chance that Mike Babcock was going to make this team a good team in the regular season, but to me, he just couldn't win in the playoffs recently. And I think that comes with the fact that when he was winning in the playoffs, he had Nick Lidstrom. And that guy is one of the better leaders in hockey, one of the best defensemen to ever play the sport. It's kind of like, I don't know if he has it to bring this team to the next level. And I think they waited too long on this move, but personally, that's just me.
Okay, one thing I'll say, I was kind of surprised by the timing. Like, they're still on the road right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
Well, how much longer?
Jared Glant.
Yeah. How much longer can you wait, though?
Well, 2 more games, and they would have had 5 days off before they played Detroit at home the next. That's a good time for a coaching change. No?
Yeah,
I think it come too far though, maybe, right? Like,
yeah,
I guess it had been to that, but yeah, right. So they kind of realized, look, we might have messed up by not doing this sooner in the off season when there was more available coaches, when there was like a little bit of a bigger pot or a bigger pile, and then they did this, and this was the best move they could come out with, right? But like. I think Dubas had to get this lined up first and be fully confident at first that this was the most appropriate move, and maybe it just showed how much of a leash he kind of gave Babcock, even though it wasn't really his choice for coach, right?
To me, if you're this close to making this move, why doesn't it happen before the Vegas game? Because was it 2 or 3 days off in between that you can kind of get this team together as a unit in Vegas where
you heard everything. Babcock was asked questions about it. They had a team-only meeting, blah, blah, all that fun stuff. Like, you hope that, hey, this is the last straw. Maybe they'll figure something out. This is a prove-it game. They don't prove anything. There you go.
But why? You needed that game to prove it? Like, I don't think...
He also has a really good track record, albeit having good teams in the past with Detroit. He's also making $6.25 million a year, so it's a pretty tough financial decision to make, right?
That's right.
I think you kind of owed it to him, like that he did lead the Leafs to the playoffs for the first time in how many years?
Yeah.
And then I don't know, you owe him a few games. And I think that was 20 was enough, and whatever.
I just thought it was weird that you went to but you did it after the Vegas game, because I don't think the Vegas game really showed you much about Babcock. I don't think you're looking at that game going.
I think it did.
You think?
Yeah, he started with new D pairings. They were jumping in the rush for the first 15 minutes of the game. Then he brought the leash back out and said, "Nope, reeling it back in."
But then he put them back together. Like I think it was I don't know if he did it because they had like
Their
they had
whole
a
system
PK
changed.
and switched it around.
Their whole system changed halfway through that game.
Yeah.
I think also they are giving 110% for probably the first time in, I don't know, 5 or 6 games, and they still
Yeah.
didn't
And
win
it
under
still
that
didn't,
system.
yeah.
I think that was the big thing.
Yeah.
Let's not
You can
lose
see
in
that.
all of this, though, that Babcock's a good coach.
No, he's
Oh, he's a great
incredible.
coach.
He's a
Just
great
not with
coach.
the
There,
team.
there's
And,
so
like-
many people that are like, oh, he's worse than Carlisle was. He's worse than Randy Wilson. Like no, let's not kid ourselves. He did some great things for this team. Think about where Morgan Riley was when he came.
Yeah.
Think about
I
where the
think-
whole team
Yeah,
was.
he created a culture in this team that the Leafs haven't had in 10 years.
Yeah,
He
and did he
came
get
in-
them
It
to
was-
the promised land? No.
It was
But
at a time too where he was brought in. Like I'm pretty sure he was the highest paid person on the team. Like when they signed to that contract.
Yeah.
Like so that's what he was for. Was to be the you know what I
The
paid
leader.
more than everybody here. So shut up, listen.
Yep.
Here's how it is. At a time where we needed someone to be that shut up and listen guy, and then
Yep.
unfortunately, you got outgrown by that. And he couldn't deal with that, right? He
No.
couldn't really, he didn't mesh well with the stars that were being brought in because they were like, okay, well, dude, we have a voice too. Like we have a system that works as well. Like
Yep.
so I
the
can
best
I totally get it.
comparison. The best comparison I've seen it a few times, is that Mike Babcock is this team's Dwayne Casey, and you're looking for your Nick Nurse at this point because like he came in and
I
he
hate that.
he set a culture in this
Yeah.
team. He set a culture in this team and he made it what it is today.
It's a little
But he's
different,
not.
though,
He's
yeah.
not the team. He's not the team that takes you to the promised land because you need someone that can actually give you the systems to mesh with this team.
Well,
like Nick
that's the
Nurse.
whole thing. He's
But-
never been an X's and O's coach. Nobody's ever praised him on that. Even
No.
when he's with Team Canada, like he's relying on his assistants. It's just always been he's a great mentor, a great motivator, a great leader. And
Yeah.
eventually we got to the point where that's just not enough anymore because the guys have tuned him out. And
Yep.
Yeah.
I think they need to replace the assistant coaches too because
You have
Yeah.
to.
That.
Paul
PK has
Is
been
it McFarland?
horrible.
Yeah.
Is it McFarland? That's their assistant power play
Yeah,
girl.
Yeah.
Farland and Haxtell.
Buddy who's a
Haxtell's
lawyer last year, is now the assistant coach. Of
Well,
the
because
Leafs.
they did that, like apparently they had done that in the off season to try to help with this whole like cushioning the Babcock release and seeing if they could almost delay it.
So-
And then this obviously isn't working because they're right, like their PK is awful, man. They give up a ton
Power
of
play is
chances.
brutal.
In
like,
their
real-
defense,
Special teams is awful.
Yeah.
in their defense, how much different are they than they were last year? Like the both
Okay,
the units, they don't
so
look
I
much.
think the biggest
I-
thing that has shocked me about this team though is this stat is that Freddie Anderson has
Yeah.
all of their wins. Okay,
Yeah.
there's only 3 other teams in the NHL who are like that. All right, Vegas with Fleury,
who was also struggling.
right? Corpusalo with Columbus,
Yikes.
and Mackenzie Blackwood with New Jersey.
Oof.
So
Cory
Vegas
Schneider
is
didn't
the
have a
highest
single
team,
win.
but Vegas out of those 4 teams is the highest, and one of those is against one of the wins against the Leafs. I think they only are like 2 wins in the Leafs. So
Yeah, Malcolm.
that
Subban.
right there though says like for years though, for the past couple of years though, we've always had like a Sparks to come in, a Hutchinson that played out of his
McElhinney.
mind. Yeah, McElhinney, like those names that kind of came out of their minds. And like Anderson was still doing Anderson things, getting you wins, but now no backup is getting you that win, right? So
Yeah,
that's like one of the biggest things I feel like that we're kind of missing right now from years
Yeah.
prior is that there's no backup goalie where players can go out and feel confident enough to like play in front of him and make a couple mistakes, right? It's still like every game is a to win, like a must win game.
And back
Because
to
you
the-
can't-
Albeit all 6 of those games are back to backs.
yeah,
Yeah.
At least no one to be brutal on back to back.
yep. And it was weird the way they played it out too. I mean,
Right.
you're going your better goalie against the worst teams and stuff
Yep.
like that. That's a different conversation to have. Back on the power play, the PK units, like they're not that different than last year's units. Am I wrong?
No,
Like,
I think Babcock still had a say in those.
That's what-
just
that's
how
what-
similar they look.
that's
And
what I'm trying to say.
There's no way you can
You had
tell
a-
me that
you-
Keefe didn't get to meet with Hackstall and McFarland this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
This has been in the back of Dubas and Shanahan's mind the whole time. It's clear because we're 20 games in when it happened.
Yep.
He definitely sat down with them and said, "Hey, what do you see here? What is this? Blah blah blah, so
Yep.
forth."
I
The
think
biggest
that's
thing.
where-
the bi-
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No,
The,
you
the
got it.
biggest thing on the power play this year from last year is John Tavares. Why would you take somebody at a career high 47 goals, 12 of them on the power play,
Yeah.
away from the net front presence
Well,
that
he's back now.
dominated?
Yeah.
Yeah, now.
Yeah, now
But-
as he
but
should be.
it's-
but-
His first 22 games, 16 he played in.
He was.
yeah,
he
yeah,
was,
I think he's been
Yeah,
back
it-
out front for 2. Like
I
that
just
was a
think-
ridiculous move. But
In defense of the assistant coaches right now, I don't think they had as much say as people are giving them. Like, yes, they had a hand in it, but I think this is still a lot of Babcock's system where it's just like, this is what we've done. Like, play with that a little bit. It wasn't like, here,
yeah,
create
and
our
I'm
power.
also excited just to hear what they have to say because Babcock's
Yeah.
had a rule always where his assistant coaches don't get to talk to the media.
Yeah.
So
So-
now Hackstall's gonna get the mic and say, "This guy
That one.
sucks."
That went well. Yeah, I don't dislike I wouldn't dislike getting rid of the assistant coaches because I think if you're going to get a new regime, just clear cut it and give Keefe his guys, like whoever he wants to bring in. I think that makes the systems easier. But at least you have a new face at the front of it, which would be interesting. I think
I
This
also
was-
just like the sense of keeping them because let's not kid ourselves here. Like people saying Keith's the savior. Like he's never coached in the NHL.
No.
no.
The AHL is a different beast.
Yeah.
And
You are handing them the keys to a Ferrari right now, though, with this team. You have you have a ton of weapons that he's never had.
I mean,
had
you're a little
in
scratched up Ferrari right now, but
It's
you're a
dented.
Ferrari.
You got in a car
It's
crash or
dented.
two.
Yeah, you.
A couple
He needs
tickets.
to
You've tried the
Repaired a
Wolf
bit.
of Wall Street drive, you know? Get in the car.
What? The car still drives.
Yeah,
Right.
and this situation screams 2009 Penguins, 2016 Penguins, and 2019 St. Louis Blues.
Yep.
Yeah.
It screams all of those situations.
And 2020 Leafs.
Well, we hope.
Just one last thing to add
Yeah.
to this. Scott Wheeler tweet yesterday. Another reason why I just think it was time. The Leafs' point percentage in their 22 games so far this year, .478. That is sixth worst in the NHL. You know who's worst? I'm gonna tell you. Ottawa, New Jersey, Detroit, Minnesota, and LA. Five
Huge.
teams that are literally admittedly tanking.
Yep.
Those are the only
I
teams that
don't
the
know,
Leafs
man.
have a better point
Ottawa
percentage.
might not be admittedly tanking anymore.
All right.
You
We're
see
not
them
even
playing
going to address
recently?
that.
Dude, they
We're
have the
not even
same
gonna-
amount of wins as our Toronto Maple Leafs.
They're
Yep.
buzzing lately.
Oh,
but
dude, they are looking
as
good.
Tyler
far
Adams
as
effect.
Ottawa goes, they're buzzing. But Ty Joe's winning the heart. Just run with that.
Connor Brown has like the most shifts, I think, for like any forward. Like,
that team's
yeah,
ridiculous.
he's just out there all the time, man. He's crazy.
Final
Yeah, he goes for
point-
20 seconds at a time just to set the record.
Yeah, exactly. He goes. Oh,
Final point on the Babcock thing. I think this is Kyle Dubas kind of betting on himself right now, in the sense that he's like, you know what? No, this wasn't my
I
fault.
mean,
Like, I'm
this
going
is
to get
him-
rid of the
You have
guy
to.
running it.
Yeah, but this is him
You don't have
fully
another
showing
choice.
himself. Yeah. This is him all in. On
This
you
is
have to
this
be
is
all
him going,
in.
look, man, I
Yep.
built a team that should be winning a cup. Here it is. I'll put it with my guy. He's going to do okay. If not, there's a strong chance he loses his job fairly soon. Not this season, but like
I'd say
fairly
If
soon
they
after.
don't make the playoffs and like don't even come
He's-
relatively close,
You're probably gone.
He's gone.
Yep.
And I don't think he's done a bad job. I think it's just a shit situation.
I think he's done a
That's-
good job. And
that's
as we've
sports,
said
though.
all along, the players just weren't getting used properly
Yeah.
to how the team was constructed.
If,
So if that doesn't prove true now, then we're all idiots and he's done. So
if you're not here to win, then what are you here? What are you doing here? Like that's really it. So you got to
Here for
change
the
the system.
paychecks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I mean,
All right.
the Leafs almost came back last night if it wasn't for
Yeah.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
My
What a
God,
segue.
That's
Dude.
got to be save of the year, eh?
Even
Oh
the
my God.
even the
Very
score
close.
guy
Top three
flipped
for
it
sure.
on the score, man. He flipped
Yeah,
it
he
to
went up to
3-3
4.
because I
he
because
went
I
up
was
to
certain,
4-3 on it.
yeah, because I was certain he was that it was going.
Oh,
Dude,
He's
Like,
had some nice saves though.
jeez.
Like the NHL Instagram posted his 5 best saves of his career. That I think,
the one against the Red Wings.
yeah, situational
Yeah.
wise, that was definitely the best one.
Yeah.
I think acrobatic wise, I think this one's probably
Oh, yeah.
topped it.
That was
He had
amazing.
one,
That was a
uh,
shortstop diving across the bag to
Yeah.
catch a
he
backhander.
had one in OT this year against the Sens too, where he went like full spread on his legs and fucking
Yeah.
just made it with the toe. Like the guys make some of the more highlight real saves you'll see in the NHL every single year.
Yeah.
I did have him as the Vezina pick. I'm kind of shaky on that one
Is
now,
he a,
but
is
like
he a Hall of Famer?
I would
Yeah.
say so.
I
His
think
numbers,
his numbers, yeah, his
suggest it.
numbers just show it. Like on paper, he's a Hall of Famer, especially being a first overall pick. Like
I think
you're,
he is.
yeah, absolutely. Like
Hey, it's the Cups
Any-
to back it up too.
yeah,
I was going to
that's-
say any goalie that has 3 Stanley Cups and 5 Stanley Cup Finals appearances, I think you got to give him at least a look,
Mhm.
regardless
I
of
want to
their
see
numbers.
those yellow
and he's
pads in the
got some
hall.
medals.
Yeah, those yellow pads might already be.
Now gold. Now
Dude.
gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a gold.
Do we want to stick with the Leafs, or have we talked about them enough?
I think everything else becomes irrelevant at this point.
Yeah.
Now that we have they have a new
That's kind
coach.
of what I was thinking. Yeah, like we've seen all the Tyson Barrie problems. We understand the backup goalie issues and the ice time stuff, but it really doesn't matter at this point because it's going to be a new regime, and we'll see where it takes us.
I'm gonna just say the people that are like, "Oh, Barry better be with Riley now." No.
Well, how do you feel about like Barry Riley? I think that'd be
No,
fun.
I'm not putting those two together.
I think that would be fun. Did you see them last night when they put Barry Riley together?
Yeah.
Things went well.
Did you see how many times they were on our side of the red line? Negative.
I think it should be Riley and Muzzin.
Okay.
Barry
Dermott.
and Dermott.
Let's go.
And then say fuck the third pairing. Play them 10 minutes a night.
Roll into
25
minutes a night for the other two.
Dude, run the Joel Quenneville type of defense. Get 3 or 4 horses and just run them. 5 or 6 guys see 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah.
3 cups.
I don't disagree with the strategy. I don't necessarily agree with Dermott on the second pairing. Just right now, because Dermott doesn't. He doesn't.
Who do you want there?
Have you? Hall defensively has been better than Dermott has, and right now you need someone running with Tyson Barrie. Who? So you're gonna throw? You think Tyson? What do you call it? Travis Dermott's better. Been better defensively since he's came back than Justin Hall.
Yes. Or equal.
I don't give him that.
Last year, Justin Hall didn't see the
I don't
ice
care about
all year
last year.
because
But
he's
also,
not
though,
good
a shit about
defensively.
But right now in a new system, like when you're introducing a new system, just like best 4, throw them up there.
Yeah, Dermott.
So yeah, I agree with that.
I just think
Travis Dermott deserves to play over Hall at
Dermott shined under Keefe too.
Exactly. So throw him up there.
That's when he became the Dermott he is now. He was nothing in Erie. Like he was a
think
good skater, and that's it.
The Dermott Barrie all offense thing just kind of scares me a little
Dermott
bit.
is not all offense. Where's that coming from?
He's a lot of offense with the athleticism.
He has the best gap control. He has the most active stick of any Leafs defenseman.
Great skater, man.
Exactly.
That's how you play.
You can always get back.
He has the most hits other than Muzzin. What more do you want than stick checks, gap control, and hitting?
Well, another controversial situation was the Matt Calvert situation in Colorado the other night.
Yeah, that was. I don't know. You guys all saw it, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
If you're listening and didn't see it, the Avalanche, it was 5-on-5, right? They weren't shorthanded.
It was 5-on-5, I think.
Yeah, it just
6
looked
on
like
5. They pulled the goalie to tie it up, no?
I didn't think it was that late. Either way, Matt Calvert goes down to block a shot. He ended up getting caught up awkwardly, and then Pettersson took a shot. It bounces off of Calvert's stick and hits him in the cheek, I believe it was. The cheek area, anyways. He's laying there bleeding on the ice. The play goes on for, 8 seconds, I believe? And there's no whistle. Calvert's clearly injured laying on the ground. Vancouver goes, scores, puts them within 1. And it stirred up a lot of controversy in the NHL. How do you guys feel about it? I'm
on Colorado's side.
Yeah.
The rule, I'm sure you guys have seen it too, the way it's written is... It's controversial. Like that's what the refs were thinking. Like 100%, they were like, "Oh shit! Like if we blow it down, this is a chance that Vancouver could have tied it and all that." But at some point, safety has to come above all else.
Yeah.
Like you see a guy who's lying there.
Even the Vancouver
player safety,
players.
man.
Yeah.
So
when Pettersson's pointing,
they had the puck, but he's like, "Yeah, no, like get the guy off the ice."
Yeah. It's one of those things that like the ref kind of called it correctly by way of the rule, but
by wording he kind of did,
but the rule is a little misworded in the fact that like anytime that something like
changed.
That happens, you should be able to blow the whistle dead or blow the play dead. Sorry,
especially to the head.
Yeah, it's one thing if it gets hit in the foot and you guys gets that that stinger that the guys get and they're limping whatever and they go block another shot.
Sure,
it's
completely different.
It's tough to argue he did anything wrong there. But
I hope they change it going forward. Yeah, if anything, they change that going forward to make it a more definitive. Like, hey, if anything, to the head, or any sort of injury like that, you're blowing whistle.
I think the whole thing is that just you can't put in writing if somebody's down hurt, you have to blow it because then people are like, oh my knee hurts, blow it down. You don't. Score.
No, but like in that case though, it's clear that it went. Like to the guy's head.
100%. Yeah. 100%. But how do you word that so that you know exactly when to blow it or not?
It goes either way. Yeah, absolutely. Because you get yourself in those situations that where the guy just pulls himself down and gets the whistle just cause. Absolutely.
Yeah. The refs stayed busy this week. First and foremost was the Oscar Sundqvist hit on John Gibson. I still haven't seen it. I told Nick I'd watch it. Still haven't watched it.
3 days ago.
Yeah. He didn't end up getting suspended, but he got fined the max. How do you guys feel about that?
It was a tough play because Gibson came out almost at the last second to play the puck, and Sundqvist kind of, I don't know, squeezed in to try to get between him and the boards.
He did like when guys jump to go onto the boards around the goalie.
Yeah.
As Gibson went into the boards to go around him.
Yeah.
So I think it was just more than anything, it was accidental, but it's just a tough look when you're jumping into the back of a goalie.
Yeah,
It
and that's
looks really
why
bad.
it was a suspension, because it was on the goalie. If it was a player to player, it would have been nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, because I think I watched Brand. I think I texted you about it with Ovechkin's hit, and even I kind of saw it with Reeves hit. Like both of those guys, they lean forward and they kind of like throw their weight a little forward.
I had no problem with Ovechkin's hit.
No, I have no problem with the hit either, but it's just the way that they kind of do it, right? Like I feel like it's the same sort of deal. Like Sundqvist is like trying to avoid contact, absolutely, but he just really, but he's like the way that he kind of throws it at the boards. It's like I want to make more contact with the boards, and then because of that, Gibson, like I feel like goalies when you get it near them, they kind of do that whole like flop where like they feel a contact and they just and they're down and they're making the theatric on it, and right, because how can you tell a goalie they've embellished that, right? Like on that big of a hit. So
I'm watching it now. It's kind of like I can see like he's trying to get out of the way a bit, but there's also a shit ton of room on the other side of him that you could have just turned a little bit and avoided it.
Yeah.
Well, you're saying
I don't think Gibson kind of went at the same time.
Yeah. I don't know.
They both tried to get out of each other's way the same way. It's like if you're walking through a bar, right?
Yeah, and you both
going too quick. You both go this way.
Yeah, that's fair. I can see it. It's tough. I mean, you're trying to protect goalies a little bit, so I could see where you could try and pull a suspension on that. I get where the fine comes from. It's an interesting play.
Suspension. It's fine.
Real quick off of the Ovechkin thing, because I didn't write it down. I don't think there's a ton to talk about, but that Ovechkin hit on Drouin put Drouin out for pretty much the rest of the year, I've heard.
Like
8 weeks, I've heard, but apparently he's pretty much done for the season. That's a tough loss if you're in Montreal, no?
Yeah. 8 weeks before he gets reevaluated, I think.
Yeah. And
That's
I mean,
huge.
The depth scoring on that team is not very deep.
He's been a bit of a revelation this year. Like I don't know if you guys have watched any Habs games, but he's hitting guys, he's winning battles in the corner. It's actually
he's scoring.
He's scoring, like as he was always expected to do.
But now he's getting more chances because he's doing more of the little things.
Exactly. Like he's turned himself into a complete player. I wouldn't say complete player.
Well, he went to center there, didn't he? Right? Like he moved from wing to center when he went to Montreal. So I think that kind of puts him in more situations.
He's got
with the puck.
15 points in 19 games, 7 goals, 8 assists. So like that's a big guy at the top of your lineup that you're missing for the rest of the year on a Montreal team that's been real hot as of late.
Yeah. Looking back into your hot tub time machine here, do you make that trade for Sergachev?
If you're
Montreal,
I think it's starting to level out.
I think it's getting closer now.
Yeah. Like Tampa Bay hasn't won a cup. So it's not like they have that advantage.
Yeah, that right there.
Yeah, they have
it hasn't made a huge difference on either of the teams, right? Neither of them can say like, "Well, look what we've done," because it hasn't made a big enough impact for either one of them. Mm-hmm. Tampa's throwing out a much better lineup around Sergachev than Montreal is around Drouin too. So the fact
Tampa was trading from a position of strength too, like they have so many young, skilled forwards. Yeah. I would feel like Sergachev right now on Montreal's blue line would help them more than Drouin is, though.
Yeah.
No,
Weber's really good this year.
A top four of Weber, Petrie, Sergachev, and Mate.
And they lose a lot of their scoring.
They need a lot of help
offensive. Drouin's been a lot of their offensive like drive, I guess, and quarterback and a lot of that. And as much as it'd be nice, I think without Drouin there, it kind of makes that top center that they see.
You're lacking.
And Nick Suzuki's the first line center. Let's go.
See, that frightens you a bit, though, no? Like if you're Montreal,
nope.
If you're not a friend of Nick Suzuki, are you not a little bit concerned? Like as good as he is, I've seen him play. He's an incredible hockey player, but he's also in his first year in the NHL, and you're now thrusted into the first line center role.
Yeah, he's not quite ready for that. I don't think.
No.
Yeah. No.
And I mean, they're scoring.
We'll see now, No Drouin.
Their scoring depth really isn't there. You got Tatar has 20 points.
Paul Byron's sick. What do you mean?
Gallagher's up to 16. Paul Byron's also hurt. But
Domi, man.
what
They've
is
got
Domi
Domi.
at?
That's all they need.
Denol's at 16.
What's Domi?
Drouin had 15. Domi's at 13. 4 goals.
Yeah,
and 9 assists.
he's not
alive.
playing as good as he was last year, but
Yeah.
he's starting to for sure.
After
Just going
that-
back to that suspension thing, do you not agree that Garnett Hathaway's just been suspended for about 20 games?
Yeah, that's a
For that.
line
No.
ball move. Come on.
I don't
That's
because Marchand
disgusting.
licked a guy and got nothing. What's the difference
I
between
also-
licking someone's face and
that-
spitting? I'd
That's
probably
not
rather get
Based
spit.
off of who you are, though.
also
Marchand got
think
away with that
Marchand-
because he's Brad Marchand. Like, that right there just goes
Marchand
to the
should
name.
not get away with it because he's Brad Marchand.
No, he does, though. He's in that elite level of you can't touch this.
Yeah, but he's also
one of
Rat Boy.
Right,
that
absolutely.
guy.
That you want to sit here and then talk about saying that he didn't get suspended, but no, that deserved. I thought a little more games than 3 because you spat on somebody.
I think they each should have got more than 3.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say I think Marchand should have got a lot more than what he got.
Yeah.
But like I don't want to
0.
compare the Garnett Hathaway to that because he got nothing. I think Garnett Hathaway deserved at least what he got, maybe not more.
I thought
Like,
5.
that's- 5 would
I
have been
thought 5 was.
Yeah.
I think that's a code thing. Like Nick and I talked about this on the baseball podcast. It's one of those things. It's just like it's those unwritten rules that you don't cross. And
Yeah.
like spitting on a
Those
guy
guys
is
are wild.
that's spitting on a guy in like any fight, even just like in life. That's
Just
just unwritten.
disrespectful.
You just
Yeah,
don't
that right
do
there
it.
is just.
You just don't do
That
it.
whole shift though, that was fire.
Yeah.
Leipzig
watched that
buzzing
whole
around,
thing.
dummy.
Yeah,
guy.
dude. Brendan Leipzig buzzing around. Take that.
Imagine
in,
if he was in the
Yeah.
Leafs top 6 right now. Oh my god, we'd be in the playoffs.
If that Brendan Leipzig was in
Yeah.
the Leafs top 6, yes.
Hey, I always liked him.
We lost him to Vegas, right? That was our pick?
No, we went
Am
to
I
Vancouver.
wrong on that?
Did he go to Vancouver?
I thought he was our Vegas steal, unless I'm wrong. I could be wrong. He's been a lot of places since.
He was in Vegas at some point.
I'm pretty sure he was there
Probably
draft
he
pick
was,
in
yeah,
Vegas,
might
but
have been.
hey, I could be wrong. Has something to say. A lot of people were saying, or I saw a couple people on Twitter at least, were saying Eric Branson kind of gave him a bit of a cheap shot on that one. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Was
Punch
it-
him back. Punch him back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't even
Just
I
go
wouldn't
at
even
him
call
then.
it-
Yeah.
I wouldn't even really call it a cheap shot. Like they
Dude.
were lined up together, but there's a ref in the middle. That was the only
Tell him
difference.
parking lot then. Don't spin on him.
It was late. It
Wait
was
till they're out of the
well after
box.
scrum.
Just look at each other.
But that
Talk about it in the box. Say,
just-
hey, the ref got in the way. Now he's not gonna if we step out. So as soon as you step out, game time. Let's go.
Oh, the spit was wrong. There's no denying
Yeah.
that. But I think he only spit because he was cheesed because it was a late jab while he wasn't looking while there was a ref between them.
Absolutely.
It was also that was the first time they got together though, right? Like I think because Hathaway was going with someone else, and then he ended up getting locked up with Goodbranson, and then the ref came in to break it up, right?
Yeah, it was a weird situation for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, it was the
Anytime
first shot that Goodbranson
spitting
threw.
on
I don't
another
know.
dude's involved.
It's
It's a bit
just
of a weird
wrong,
situation.
just bad.
Yeah.
From bad to good. Mac, you were hyping up the Hawks.
I
love it. They were doing
I
so
mean-
well until last night, man. I was so frustrated.
even last night wasn't that bad. Yeah, they got down early, but they almost came back in the third
Yeah.
period. Ever since Crawford got hit in the fucking dome, they have been unbelievable. I texted
Team
Nick.
up a little bit.
I texted Nick that night. I was like, "Oh crap, Crawford's gonna go out for like the rest of his life because he got square hit in the dome by a
Got vertigo
clapper."
again.
And then he came back in the game and was lights out for the rest of the game. I think they lost the game 2-1 or something like that.
It's almost like he's got a switch in there, eh? That, like you hit it once and he's got like the Crawford and you hit it again and he's like, "Oh, dude, I'm an all-star by the way."
Yeah.
I know how to play goalie. That's
Yeah.
right.
They've had points in 8 of their last 9 games before last night, including a 4-game win streak and 7 wins in those games. Patrick Kane, over those 4 wins, has had 9 points, and as mentioned before, Doc has been unbelievable as well. Leonard and Crawford have been.
was my star of the week last week. Just to remind you.
Yep. So, they're hot, and Taves and his line haven't even heated up yet. So we're looking good for the near future anyway, and hopefully we can keep it going.
If we
You
could
think-
just stop puck watching, oh my goodness, that's the biggest thing is that they just lead to so many like opportunities on net from puck watching. But after that, man, there's
But
times
it doesn't
where
matter when you have Robin Leonard.
But that's what it mean, right? Like there's time, and if you have the good Corey Crawford, like Robin Leonard, I think he made a save last night or like 2 nights ago with just literally like the blade of his skate, like just because he's that long and that's all I could reach, and he just saves it away, man.
Well, it's crazy. We made two big lineup changes. We put the Brinkat, Strome, Kane line back together. They started scoring. We moved Seabrook down in the third pairing, getting 12 minutes a night. I don't know, 10 less shots per game. It's amazing.
Love it.
What 2 lineup changes can do to a team.
Highest paid D-man.
Speaking, of other amazing teams right now, the New York Islanders.
Yep.
Dude.
I've been real hesitant to talk about this team because I still like
you always
they're
are,
incredible.
I don't like them.
Why? But that's it. That's
they're
exactly
so boring.
It doesn't matter, but they're winning. You know what it's like? It's like back when San Antonio was winning all the way that they're just boring. It's just X's and O's. That's exactly how they're doing.
San Antonio, the Devils when they played the Trap and won cups.
It's just
who was the GM there?
Lou Lamoriello.
Who's the GM for the New York Islanders?
Nobody cares.
Lou Lamoriello.
Can you honestly look at this team and tell me they're going to succeed in the playoffs, though?
They could.
Yes, because Matt Barzal.
And they went and swept the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, but they
could again.
I mean, yes, yeah. I don't.
What
like
if they make
either.
another move? Yeah.
I don't like them either, but I can tell you that they'll do good because guess what? They're 15-3-1. That's good.
I don't think their goalies are good enough. I also didn't think Leonard was as good as he was, so I don't know.
Thomas Greiss is something in the water. Right? Greiss has been very underrated the past 2 years, being that tandem with Leonard and now staying as part of that other. But that's what it is, though. He just knows that, man, if I play half the games and I just okay, I'm only gonna play half, but I win every one of those, wicked. And that's almost what he goes in for every time. Is I don't care if I'm only playing half. I'm gonna win every half of those games, and that's his mentality. Is half, win all of them, done, perfect, do my job.
A lot of halves in there.
But he's loving it.
If you win half of the half of half,
you got half of it. But that's how it is, though, and that's why they're winning. And their stats were identical. I think I listed it off last time that I was on the pod. They were pretty identical stats all the way. So I love it, man. Matt Barzal too, yeah.
He kind of set himself up to be underrated because the year before last year, do you know what his save percentage was?
I'm gonna go 84.
You're lowballing him a bit.
Okay.
It was a nice 892.
Oh.
Where was he? Was he in the Island at that point? Or was he in
I'm pretty sure he was a starter in New York. Right. At some point, they were flip-flopping. That was when they had Halak, and they had the 2 worst goalies in the NHL.
Was that the year after?
Halak's not the worst goalie.
That year, they had the 2 worst goalies in the NHL.
And now look at those.
Okay, but that goes back to the whole tandem goalie ice time.
But now look at those tandems.
Halak is disgusting as a backup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I understand that, but the 2 of them that year were the 2 worst in the NHL, and the numbers were there to back it up. Yeah. So, I mean, it's tough to say he's underrated, but...
What percentage do you give to a goalie or to a coach for a goalie success? Because I give about 30%.
Yeah, I think that's
33.
Fair. Yeah. I think 31 and a half would be... No, I think...
30%?
I think you're close on it, because it's the defensive systems are helping out their goalies a lot, right? Obviously, Robin Leonard was the real deal, and he's continuing to prove it in Chicago. But the fact that you're still making a goalie out of Thomas Greiss and Semyon Varlamov still, it's got to have something to do with the fact that you're playing lockdown defense and getting 0 quality chances against you all night.
It does, but at the same time, shots are shots. Goalies make saves.
Sure.
It's on them too. I'd say between 30 and 49.
You don't want to put the 50.
You don't want to go halfway.
Under the 50.
Okay. So they're not quite half, but they're somewhere in there.
Yeah, I agree. I will say this about Chicago is that they give up 39.5 shots per game.
Yeah.
Is that a lot?
It's quite a few. Second most in the league right now.
They're Leaf fans, so they don't know that yet.
Yeah, we're ahead of the Leafs.
Yeah, what?
For us.
Welcome to the 40s.
Yeah. We're happy if we get 39 shots against.
Anyway, there's a lot of outside chances, and their high dangerous scoring chances against compared to their shots isn't really that bad.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the big thing. Both teams, right? The Islanders do the same thing. They don't give up quality chances. And it's a lot easier to make a save as a goalie when it's something simple than it is. Obviously, it's not the key factor in how they're performing, but I think it helps a lot. Gonna skip over one real quick because there's a goalie that isn't making as many saves. Cory Schneider, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, didn't have a win this year, and because of this, he was placed on waivers, and I think he cleared. Right? Am I wrong?
He cleared.
Yeah,
he cleared with flying colors.
He also didn't have a win last year for 13 months in the calendar year. So
no,
that's a lot.
Yeah, is that bad?
It's not good.
I think that's not great. It's got. Do you think it's the main reason for New Jersey struggles is the fact that they can't find goalies?
PK
No?
Subban, have you watched their games?
Not great.
PK Subban is playing a 4-man offense, and it's crazy. Like, every time that I look, he is either at their net or he's being walked around by someone who should not be walking around him.
But that's been PK Subban for years.
But he's been able to bring it back, or at least he's had a goalie to kind of make it seem not that bad.
Now he's hardly producing.
Yeah, and those chances were going in.
He's just used to sitting at the cool kids table. Now he's there, and he's like,
I feel like Nashville really hid that part of his game, like that he was on a downgrade.
He was their fourth man.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, he just kept going down and down, and then no one saw it though until he became supposedly the top 2 in New Jersey, and then
last year was a bit of a story. Like, you kind of saw his numbers start to slip. I think he got hurt too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he only played 63 games last year, but like you kind of saw his numbers start to go, and it's just like, what's happening to PK Subban? And then this year he comes in 20 games. He's got 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points. He's a -8, which plus minus whatever, but like that is not pretty for your number 1 D-man that you're paying. What is he? $7 point something million? $9 million?
over that, yeah.
Lovely. I thought he was making 7. Yeah, it's not pretty.
But no, they haven't looked good. Just they aren't clicking as a team yet. And as bad as Schneider's been, you can't put that all on him.
No.
I mean, obviously,
I'm not even just going straight Schneider though. I'm not
They're
going.
Very young. They're very young.
Mackenzie
my
Blackwood
favorite thing on that is when Schneider got sent down. One of the Devils beat reporters, Jack Hughes has been living with him. They're like, so did they just leave the keys for Hughes? Or...
Poor kid. Yeah. I watched him last night against Boston? That kid's still flying though, eh? Despite
he gets so many chances. Like
still is.
He might be the second best Hughes, but there was a play he had last night along the boards that he just blew
2 years
by.
older.
Just went from a dead stop and just blew by.
I meant Luke Hughes. Hey, he's tearing it up. He has better numbers than either of them did.
No, Jack Hughes set records. Luke's not.
He's a defenseman though. So
okay.
Third best Hughes brothers in New Jersey.
Is that where Luke's playing at right now?
Yeah, they're on the road.
Speaking of unbelievable rookies, Cale Makar, Calder.
Shout out Matt for just
killing
it with these transitions right now.
Yeah, man.
Can you give him the Calder right now? I mean,
I don't think there's much of an argument.
There's no argument.
No,
not even one.
No.
He's first in rookie scoring, 18th scoring overall.
Yeah, the kid's gross.
The full league.
But like, did you not expect this?
Man, he saw the playoffs last year.
Yeah, did you not expect
that? We all called this, but we didn't.
That's ridiculous. That's like, hey, go have a peek at what you're gonna see in like the most pressure spots, and then all right, come in the beginning when everyone's just chilled out, laid back. They know they got a
quarterback or disgusting power play for power play points.
Like,
plus he's +9, so obviously he's getting it done to the strength too. Like,
and imagine when like Rantanen comes back and Landeskog comes back. Like this team's without them.
I'm going to the Leafs game on December 4th, and if they're not back, I'm gonna be real upset.
That game was pretty cheap, eh?
Yeah.
I was thinking about getting tickets to that one. I was like, that's not bad. Which is surprising because like Nate McKinnon's a ticket, man. Like I'd pay that just to go see him, especially this year. And then you get to see Makar and his Kadri's return too. Like that's wild.
And Grubauer will be back. It's gonna be a good game.
Yeah. I had something on. Oh, that's what it was. Does anybody know who actually picked Makar for Calder out of us? I don't remember who picked it. You did?
I did, like 100%. I did.
I don't remember if I did or not.
I think 2 of you did, and then because I know I picked one Hughes. I think
you had Quinn and Mac.
You picked Quinn.
So then I think you 2 picked both Makar. But like,
all right. Fuck
I
yeah,
think because like we could all have gone with Makar, absolutely. So
I wasn't sure if I did or not, but
We'll probably not. We'll give you a 0.5 like baseball.
yeah, I probably didn't make a pick.
no.
Bold move.
I mean, like we all knew he was gonna be good. We all
Yeah.
said like, look at this guy
Yep.
skate, look at the way he moves the puck. Nobody thought he would be on pace for 90 points. The only defenseman with more points than him is John Carlson, who we've said, oh my god, look at the pace he's on.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
But John Carlson's had like years in the league.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
this kid is
exactly.
overlooked.
A playoff series, yeah.
Exactly. You're arguing my point for me.
No, I'm well aware. The kid's gross. Like he's absolutely filth.
Yeah, Nick picked Makar. I picked Jack Hughes. And Brandon's picks aren't in here because they didn't write them down. It's all in their heads for the first episode.
Classic Brand.
I know,
Classic Brand doesn't write it down so he can just say, "Oh yeah, I picked
That's
him."
what
I
it
picked
is,
him."
man. That's what he thinks he's all right because he's just like, oh yeah, no, I did. Pick
I went 9 for 8. I swear.
I went 10 for 8. Get out of here. I'm not sure if I picked Makar or I picked
I think you
Capo.
did.
I might have picked Kako. And that's
I
the
don't
only-
think
No,
so. I think you
no,
mentioned him,
I'm-
and then you were like,
Yeah,
"Actually, this
I'm
is
almost
dumb."
positive it was Makar for this like
Okay.
very reason though. Was that it was
I
very
don't like
evident.
defending you, but
Oh,
He
thanks,
was
man.
gross.
Thanks for finally
Because
being on
since
my
we
side
agreed-
one time. I appreciate it. Calgary. They're not good.
they're about to hire Babcock. Just throwing it out there.
I was gonna say
Back to
they're in the same situation as the Leafs. That's kind of my note. They have no identity right now,
Yeah.
or not no identity, but
It's an identity that doesn't fit their team.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're the Leafs of
doing
the
all he
West.
can right now to spark something, but it's just not doing anything. Goudreau's been
Bad.
not Mr. Hockey or Johnny Hockey.
The whole Goudreau trade rumors, though, slow your roll.
Brutal.
You don't want to trade that guy. You
No.
don't want to trade him.
No.
Tell you
They
right now.
won't. I don't think they will though, man. Like
Listen
if
up,
they did,
man.
they'd be run out of the city. They love him in that city.
He's got
Like that
one more
fan
point
base.
than William Nylander, right? In one more game.
William Nylander's gross. What's your point?
Well, I'm just saying, if we're gonna hype up Johnny Hockey all year, I mean,
Oh,
William
Goudreau's had a
Nylander's still
bad
here.
year, but you're not
Yeah.
trading him when he has low value because that guy's
Nope.
a star and he'll figure it out. And
Yep.
you'll trade him to Edmonton for Milan Lucic, and then it's bad.
You already had.
An-
You already did that.
Another bad trade rumor I saw was the well, not bad, I guess, but if the Devils do continue to struggle, do they trade Hall? And one of those big spots that I saw was the Avalanche.
Colorado. I mean, he's signing there. He's either signing Edmonton or
Don't
there.
they have a shit ton of cap space right
They
now?
have
Yeah,
so much.
That's
Yeah,
gross.
insane. McKinnon makes what 6.5, 5.5.
McKinnon's on the best
McKinnon's
deal
the
in the
best
NHL.
contract.
Yeah.
Now that Yossi's moving on to another,
Well,
and
between
McKinnon's
him and
taken off.
Pasternak.
Don't you dare mention
That's
David Pasternak. Pasternak's an incredible scorer. McKinnon is incredible all over the ice, and
Oh,
he's a
for
center.
sure. Yeah, I definitely think
And he's making less, I
best.
think.
McKinnon is better, yeah, but he was just name dropping, right?
That's,
Yeah.
No,
He's
no
19
more. We don't
goals.
name drop Boston Bruins on this
He has
podcast.
19
thanks.
goals.
He's sick. I don't want to talk about him.
And Colorado's also in the point where they have so many good prospects that they can afford to spend this money because they'll have entry level deals coming up. Like you have 2
Yeah.
more years.
Dude, they had the 4th overall pick in this last draft. Drafted
Yeah.
Bowen, like a defensive prospect
Byram.
that they could, just go, hey, see you later,
And-
bye.
They got New Hook too.
This is what I
Yeah.
mean. Yeah, it's like that
That's a
team
top
is
6 forward.
stacked, man.
They accidentally walked
ready.
into these two
And
guys.
Connor
Uh,
Timmons,
Right.
Yeah.
those other guys.
They're gonna make
Yes,
some
one or
moves
two,
too.
one or
Like,
two.
yeah,
Plus, I think Gerard's still on his entry level deal, right?
yeah. What's
got one
what's
more.
Yost been up to up there?
He's
Tyson Yost,
he's
like,
yeah, he I think he's on their third line.
right, but he's like
He's
still
still
young
pretty
enough.
well, which is
he's
which
still
is
young
basically
enough
their
that the name
first.
itself could bring like some
Oh, yeah.
sort of
Yeah,
value
for
to it. So yeah,
He
They're
hasn't met his
set.
potential yet.
They must
They're
be
gonna-
laughing up there.
They're going to lose defensemen in the draft too, in the expansion draft.
Oh,
They're not
yeah, they
going to
have
lose
to,
one
but-
forward.
No,
Even just the moves that they've made, like the draft picks that they've had, bringing in Burakovsky, bringing in Donskoy, bringing in Kadri. Like,
Yeah.
if Joe Sakic's calling you asking for a trade, you should probably hang up because
Yeah.
you're going to lose it.
Yeah, Burakovsky has 5 goals and 1 assist in his last 3 games.
He's
Playing
playing-
with
That's a
McKinnon.
guy that was
also-
playing
they're
third
unreal.
line minutes in Washington, and they said, get him out of here. He's making
Yeah.
$3 million.
Yeah,
Playing with Nathan McKinnon is a fun thing, eh?
yeah, no shit.
I could imagine.
It'll do wonders for you.
It's also not easy because he's 2 zones ahead of you at all times.
Yeah, you catch up and hit the rebound.
You touch
but
the
that's
ice and
about
you're
it.
offside. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, I wrote an article there 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago about the Buffalo Sabres.
Okay.
I said, deja vu, question mark. That was the title.
Yeah.
What's happening in Buffalo right now? They were
tanking.
first in the league. Are they going to be last in the league again?
The wheels are coming off.
I'm gonna just throw it out now. We're about less than 2 years away from Jack Eichel trade demand.
Yeah.
You think?
Less.
Think about how this guy hates losing. He said it since the day he got there. Like, he's always been animated and about it. He's been the captain now, and they still haven't figured anything out. They fell apart last year. They're falling apart already this year. He got in a scrap the other day. Probably shouldn't do that.
No.
It wasn't even that was just like a frustration scrap,
exactly,
too, man.
that's a
That was like
frustration.
I'm just throwing punches. I don't care if you're throwing any back. But
he's like, God damn, Brandon mushed Jeff Skinner this year, so now we can't win.
Dude, they're not even on the same line. This is the issue. I watched those games, and they're sticking with that stupid Olofsson kid up there. Great, their power play works on it. This kid does nothing at that line. Just watch.
He does nothing 5-on-5.
Exactly, man. So wait till they go back to Jeff Skinner being up there. That's one of the biggest things I've noticed too, because I've seen that point and wicked, man. But I was under the impression that Jeff Skinner and Jack Eichel, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then they just decided, hey, we're getting rid of it. And they're still breaking it too. Yeah, they still, even when Olofsson ran off with 5 goals at the beginning of the year and then he just sat there, they were like, yeah, whatever, we'll sit. We're still winning. And now they're not winning.
Yeah. Speaking of Eichel, I think he led the league in goals in the last week, so I'm surprised he wasn't Brant's star of the week.
Yep.
maybe next
God,
week.
Brant, what are you doing?
I'm just saying,
why are
you
you
have
picking
7
your guy?
points.
I mean,
you know what goals are worth?
What does your guy do? What
It's not
Nathan
that
McKinnon? He
impressive
doesn't
from a
even
center.
lead them in goals.
It's not
whatever,
it's
an
not.
overtime winner. Good
7
job.
points,
Doing it for
6
your team.
assists, and 3 secondary assists. Doesn't seem that impressive for me for a week, but hey.
Hey, it's a team effort as well, though. Their team started producing. They have no legitimate goal scorers on that side, so.
All right.
Hey, just
back
talking about
real quick before we move from that, back to your potential trading of Jack Eichel in the next 2 years. It's not an easy cap hit to move. As much as he's gonna want out, I get that.
Eichel?
Oh no, 100% you do, but $10 million is a
Money is
lot.
not an issue.
There's a difference
team that
between
can take on
PK
10 mil.
Subban's $9 million that teams don't want, and Jack Eichel's $10.5 million. I can't
Dude,
talk.
Jack Millions.
Jack Millions is his new nickname.
The Leafs took on Phil Kessel's contract to get him to Pittsburgh. So if it's a matter of a trade, teams are going to take on a little bit of money because Leafs are still paying that.
Jack Eichel is a goddamn star.
So yeah, if money is not an issue in the league, man, they always find little loopholes to put money here, do this there, like that.
It's a trade you're going to lose for me, and I just think unless it's a serious demand, I'm not. If I'm Buffalo, I'm not playing.
Are you though?
It's tough. It's tough because people keep salary or retain salary because the guy's not good.
Yeah,
they don't
exactly.
Retain
You're not
salary so that he can go.
No,
screw your team the next time they play each other.
I'm not paying
salary on that.
I'm not paying Jack Eichel $3 million to score 50 goals against me. No, thank you.
No, nobody's retaining salary on that. You don't have
That's what I mean. So this is where you hit the point where it's how many teams out there can take on a $10 million
But my
contract?
point was Phil Kessel, to move him was you had to take on cap, which is that's a star player at that point,
but
which
you
then in turn goes and leads Pittsburgh to 2 cups.
Sure. I don't know.
And playing against but helps Pittsburgh. And dude, that line of Bonino, Kessel, and Hagelin, that
was big for them. But the point there was his time wore thin in Toronto, and he wasn't producing like Phil would. So it's one of those things. It made sense to retain on Phil because nobody was going to take Phil at that number.
Nobody. What you're saying is that nobody is going to take Eichel at that number.
What I'm saying is not a lot of teams.
At that number, nobody
then
would
you
take him
trade a
at that
$40 million guy back, add a 3rd round pick to even it out, and you take Jack Eichel and you run. You say, "Peace, Buffalo. Stay in the basement for 10 more years."
No, but when was the last time any team in the league traded for a player that was worth 12.5% of the cap?
I said 2 years. It might be 11% by then.
That's fair, but still.
No, you're not wrong.
It's
but
tough.
You can tell he's not happy there already.
Yeah,
and if the wheels fall off this year and they don't progress next year,
I don't.
Nobody wants to lose. Buffalo sucked the life out of Ryan O'Reilly. Then he went and South. Nathan Beaulieu came out this week and said the same thing. Yeah. Buffalo sucks. They made me hate hockey. Now I'm in Winnipeg and I hate Winnipeg.
I agree with Grant. No matter how good of a player you are, it's tough to trade 12.5% of the cap.
But
Yeah.
100% it is. But
You know, this whole podcast has been leading to one thing. We've talked about the Sioux Greyhounds.
Okay.
We've talked about rookies. We've
Okay.
talked about goals. And you
Okay.
know what all this leads to? Morgan Frost scored his first NHL goal, and it was disgusting.
God damn, is this
that
guy
was
getting paid?
gross.
That is a clap. That is worthy of a clap.
I don't know why I ever start these things. I should just let Mac run this.
Yeah,
It's so
dude,
much
I was
easier.
so excited.
I'm
At
just letting
1
him
a.m. this
run.
morning, he was writing them out. He had like a map drawn between all the names, and he was like comparing it.
It's like
Possible
Mac
avenues.
just took his reins off and went for a run today, and he's just coasting, and I love it. My job is
He's
so easy
Buzzing
today.
off something for this.
Yeah, apparently he's all fired up from that. He got hit in the face, and now he's running
I got
almost as quick
I got
as
tall boy instead of a thin can tonight, and scoring great.
running almost as quick as Morgan Frost is. That was a sick goal.
It was nice, man.
He's
A
gonna
lot.
be good.
Dude, I watched him. I
Real
watched him in
good.
the men's league tournament we played in last year. That kid's a joke.
Oh, man, I
He
know,
doesn't
I
even need
love
to
it.
stride, and he's buzzing around the ice. I'm like,
Yeah.
this guy's
He
ridiculous.
looks like Mitch Marner too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, he's got like even his face. He's got the
Yeah.
same long.
Yeah.
That's
face.
what.
Yeah.
He was playing with all these guys that played in the O, or they play junior A, or they play all sorts of higher level hockey, and like he's not even striding and just making these kids look stupid.
Yeah.
He's just like out skating guys on 2 strides. I'm like, this is a joke. This kid too good for this tournament.
There wasn't
He was
even
a
a division
steal
that
when
was
he-
good enough for him.
No,
though.
it was
Like, that's
B.
how-
It was the B division. It was
But
incredible.
even if you went to A, it didn't matter.
No,
He was a steal at 27th.
Oh, yeah.
I said it then. I'm
Yeah.
gonna retweet it now, and I'm gonna let you know in 20 years I was right.
retweet my own words, eh? Throw it
That's
out there.
it's another team with a lot of talent. Is Philadelphia. I mean, you got Provorov, Gostisbehere,
I love Provorov.
Konechny.
Konechny. I just
Konechny's
meant
been-
back end too. Like their whole team, back and front,
Anaheim.
even their goalie, like Carter Hart. Like
Gotta have.
they're- gotta have.
Get your
Brian
cat
Elliott's
out,
been
yeah.
like a good backup this year too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian Elliott's been solid. Like, go
Yep.
figure.
Did I have them in the wild card? I think I did. Which is kind of
Potentially.
wild, but like kind of like it.
It's wild. That Kevin Hayes contract still scares me though.
It
Yeah.
does, but he's
The
already wearing
you
an
mean?
A there.
Assistant,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like they have
Like,
fully, they love
They
him.
love him there.
I don't
You
know
know,
who is his dad, like management up there, that was like, oh no, we need. I'm telling you, this kid's got to come.
He's kind of like that Keith Yandel type teammate, though, right? He's just
Like a locker room guy.
It's just
Yeah.
a locker room guy. He's the leadership.
Big locker room
He's
guy.
gonna be a third line guy for the whole time there probably. But he's gonna
Which
be a
is-
great
He's
player
on the
in that
second line
role.
putting up points, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Like
I was gonna say third line's what you want out of a guy making, what is it, 7.6, 8.6?
no,
Was it
but you just gotta look at
6.5?
the overall
Was it? No.
value, right?
I don't
I
know.
thought it was like
7.
7.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
7.5.
7.
Yeah.
Hey, Cap's going up 2 years, Jack Eichel.
Right. So in 2
Right, the 11%.
in 2 years when Jack Eichel gets traded at 11%, and
Jack Eichel
Kevin
for
Hayes,
Kevin Hayes in a first.
and every third line center is also making.
Oh, it's
7.5.
7.1.
Okay,
Don't exaggerate.
you're right. That extra $400,000 is just a ton.
Yeah, but I mean, when you have Giroux on not a bad deal, you have Voracek on not a bad deal. They're getting older. Your youngest guys are all on ELCs still.
Kevin Hayes is also getting older. That's like
I
he's not
mean,
young.
Technically, I think we all are. I think that's
Yeah.
just
Right.
fact.
Everyone is technically
He's
getting older.
living up to the contract though, man.
He's on the wrong
you
side
Can't
of
say it's wrong. He's
Yeah.
I'd be more worried about JVR's contract. At least Kevin Hayes can skate.
yeah.
They're both not pretty. I
But
just
one of them's producing.
I just think they're gonna hit a point. They're probably gonna be good this year, but I think they're gonna hit a point in their near future where it's just like shit, our team's old and we're paying the wrong guys a lot of money.
Remember that time that they got Matt Niskanen for Gudis? What was Washington saying? Gudis is awful, and Niskanen's looking
Washington
okay.
is sitting first place in the.
Yeah, but
NHL,
Gudis,
so who knows?
Maybe it was right.
sucks.
Maybe Gudis is the glue guy that they needed to bring them back to Stanley
No.
Cup glory.
No way he's a glue guy.
Dude, he
I-
is.
He
He's
looks
a-
like a glue
He's
guy.
glue guy.
Chase Michael
He's a
Norwood
good
around.
guy.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. Okay.
He's as good as you're gonna get.
I think it's more of having a backup like Ilya Samsonov just going off.
That's
Why'd
huge.
they- why'd they send him
He
down
also
last
got
week?
sent down.
Yeah.
He's
I
back
think,
up.
I think it was like cap circumvention stuff, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
apparently they're real tight against the cap too.
That
They
makes
are.
sense. Though.
They're in,
maybe
like,
that,
is.
maybe that
There's
was the
not
deal
many
then.
teams. Like there's like 6 teams that can afford
That-
a player over
That's
like
why
$3 million.
Niskanen for Gudis then.
That was the one thing. there's a lot of teams that are within like 100, 200 grand of the cap. Maybe there's a problem with the cap.
It's going to go up.
I think it
Well,
just
like,
speaks.
you not think it's in the wrong spot now?
Yeah,
No, I think it just
so
says
the
to the
problem is
league,
before
though.
the season, right?
Yeah.
Before the season, everybody thought the cap was going to go up, and then they decided, no, hey, let's keep it where it is, basically.
And then it didn't, so you can't just go, oh yeah, we'll add $2 million to help you guys out, because then teams that could have afforded somebody else.
Yeah.
And it also speaks to, like, I think how star-studded the league is becoming now, though, is that everybody needs to get paid. Yeah, when I looked at the Leafs cap friendly, I was like, it dropped off like kind of fast for me though, but it was also like 11, like what was the next one? I think 9 or something, and then it was like 6, but then it just went to like 3, 1, 1, and then it was like holy crap though.
10.8.
Everybody's getting paid for potential, so everybody's getting paid because everybody has potential.
Right, and that's what's crazy, man.
They do have a new TV deal when after the next season or the year after?
I think it's 2 years. It's not next season, it's the one after.
Speaking of next season and the season after, Mike Babcock to the Seattle No Names.
Oh my! You know what? Why not? I don't know if you'd be down, but why not? One thing we kind of skipped over. Do you think Tyson Barrie's getting traded?
No.
Right? It's the worst idea out there right now, because it's like Tyson Barrie to me is an $8 or $9 million defenseman. Tyson Barrie right now is about a 6.5. He's at his lowest. He's at his lowest value he'll ever be. Now is not the time to trade him.
This confirms to me why they didn't make Morgan the captain, because you're already going after the guy they just brought in, saying, "Hey, you're out. You're done with this." This is exactly why they didn't, because like Morgan Rielly is not the type of guy to go in and like take this pressure of. Can you imagine if he was captain? Hey, your team's losing. Like, tell me about it. Hey, this is all your fault. Hey, it's a defensive thing. Like,
I don't know, man. I think Morgan Rielly's been there, done that. He's been on losing teams.
I wanted Rielly to be the captain,
but I don't. The pressure itself, good though. And like, the
defense in Toronto get tarnished like no
right
other
away,
player.
man. We just brought Tyson Barrie in. Like we've been saying that it's really not like entirely his fault, because we knew his upside was offensive over defensive, right? And like not his.
The problem is Leaf fans suck. And they all want to.
Yeah,
they all just want to take a look at Tyson Barrie's numbers and be like, he's not Tyson Barrie. It's like, no shit, he's not Tyson Barrie. He's not playing a minute 45 on the power play every power play. He's not on the first pairing.
Yeah, look at the defensive stride under Sheldon Keefe, Dermott, Sandin, Liljegren,
Hollowell, Marincin.
Offense. Shut up. It's not true. He caused Game 6 loss in the 2018 Calder Cup Finals.
This is somehow the third time you've brought up Marincin's playoff turnover from the AHL on the podcast.
I just remember how bad
it still hurts. It still hurts Mac way down deep.
It still hurts a Chicago fan. That's how bad it was.
It was such a bad turnover. It hurt a Chicago fan. Oof. It must have been bad, eh?
But he was actually good under Keefe in the minors.
He wasn't bad.
I wasn't kidding.
Well, he was one of their best defensemen in both the runs.
He's a 4A player.
Yep. Travis Schneider.
Oh, yeah. I don't know who that is.
Oh my. Come on. Oh my.
Man, dude, Travis Schneider.
Travis Schneider was the greatest.
The baseball guy.
Yeah, come on, you know him.
Greatest 4A player of all time. No.
Oh, yeah.
Because 4A is a baseball term, and it always Travis Schneider will always be the best 4A player there ever was.
He deserved to be the highest paid player in 4A.
Yeah.
100%. It's the IHL.
The IHL?
Yeah, between the A and the N.
The in-between hockey league?
Yeah.
I think we're running out of stuff to talk about. Mac, you want to give me some bets?
Yeah, I think we're starting a new kind of segment too on our Instagram called the Saturday Hat Trick. So I'm kind of going to roll this in with my betting picks this week. These are all Saturday games. I don't know any of the lines yet because they don't come out until day of, but I've got Coyotes over the Kings. It may have decent value at the Yotes on the road. Bruins over Wild again. I think the Bruins are at home, so I said no bet on this one, but that is one of my picks. And then the Devils over the Ducks. Decent bet probably, and if Blackwood starts, then I think it's kind of a no-brainer to pick that game.
Yes, Nick.
I just want to add 14-3 in my last 17. So listen to Mac, because
Because you listen to Mac.
Because you listen.
Sometimes.
Tell me.
Okay. I went 0-2 tonight, so that's hot. Gotta love it.
Get your
I was
hoodie
like-
orders in. Sheet's almost done.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. By the time you hear this, it might already be done. We're
Okay, give them a
sending
minute now.
sending the order in on Friday. So by the time I post this, it's more on me. Like there's a strong chance I don't get posted until like halfway through Thursday. You might be hearing this when it's too late, but if you are hearing this on time, throw your order in, grab yourself a hoodie. It's going towards a good cause. Yeah, that's about it. Hit the like button if you liked our videos. Hit subscribe. We really appreciate it. And thanks for
buy some Babsocks.
buy some.
They're gonna be on sale now. Oh man.
Yeesh. All right. Cheers.
Yeah.